Hello everyone, it's always a pleasure to welcome you again to House News. In this episode, we present you the latest information coming from the House of Representatives of Indonesia. So now let's have a look at our headlines for today. The Constitutional Court accepted the judicial review of the Omnibus Law and asked the House and the government to create a new labor law separate from the Omnibus Law. Although the security situation is stable, Commission 1 of the House urges the Indonesian Embassy in Seoul to remain vigilant and closely monitor the political and security developments following the martial law announcement. Indonesian lawmakers had proposed to the government to only raise the current value-added tax rate for luxury items to avoid an impact on low-income people. Commission 1 of the House conducted a recess work visit to assess the implementations of Total People's Defense and Security System or Sishan Kamrata at the Kodam Iskandar Muda in Aceh Province. The BBC has published the 2024 editions of its 100 Women list and included the singer and guitarist of Indonesian metal trio Voice of Baceprot. The Constitutional Court has decided the judicial review of the Omnibus Law. The court ordered a new law should be created specifically for labor issues separate from the Omnibus Law. The court also directed the Wage Council functions to be restored. Member of the Legislative Committee of the House Firman Subagio explained, from the beginning the issue of labor was not planned to be part of the Omnibus Law because the primary goal of the Omnibus Law was to simplify regulations that hinder investment. Firman added the labor regulations had been drafted separately and discussed alongside labor issues. However, at the end of the discussions, labor provisions were included in the Omnibus Law at the government request.
Arahnya atau latar belakangnya dulu kan undang-undang tenaga kerja itu kan memang tidak masuk dalam skenario cipta kerja. Karena tenaga kerja dulu prinsipnya kan menyederhanakan terhadap regulasi-regulasi yang menghambat terhadap iklim investasi, bukan naker. Tapi tiba-tiba kan naker itu dulu kan sudah dirancang secara tersendiri oleh pemerintah. Tiba-tiba di ujung itu kok masuk di UU-CK. Nah, itu juga kami juga agak terkejut waktu itu. Nah, oleh karena itu konsekuensi daripada keputusan MK, maka dengan sendirinya yang terkait dengan bab atau pasal yang mengatur buruh harus dipisahkan, harus menjadi undang-undang terpisah.
Furthermore, Firman said the discussions of the labor law could be proposed again by Commission 9 in the 2025 to 2029 National Legislation Program through the open cumulative method. Ajib and Ridwan, TVA Parliament Report. Commission 1 urged the Indonesian Embassy in Seoul to issue warnings for Indonesian citizens amid ongoing political instability after the martial law announcement. They also advised citizens to remain vigilant and monitor the situation. The decision to declare martial law in South Korea has led to widespread protests, disrupted political stability, and caused economic uncertainty. Responding to this, member of Commission 1 of the House, Abraham Srijaya urges the Indonesian Embassy in Seoul to provide updates through social media regarding the ongoing political turmoil in South Korea. He asked the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to take preventive measures in protecting Indonesian citizens.
Dan saya sudah komunikasi dengan Wakil Dubes Korea Selatan, Bu Zelda, untuk memantau kondisi di sana, khususnya untuk PMI kita yang tinggal dan menetap di Korea Selatan. Tapi kami mendapatkan informasi kemarin bahwa semuanya aman dan tidak ada masalah untuk sekarang, tapi situasi politik masih dinamis. Kami berharap kepada Wakil Dubes kita, Bu Zelda, apabila ada terjadi atau goncangan politik, segera mengupdate dan menginformasikan ke seluruh warga negara Indonesia yang ada di Korea Selatan melalui sosial media maupun komunikasi melalui komunitas Indonesia yang ada di sana.
After the martial law announcement, South Korean prosecutors named President Yoon Suk-yeol a suspect, accusing him of treason and abuse of power. Commission 1 of the House has called on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to protect Indonesian citizens in South Korea. From Denpasar, Bali, Samuel Aditya, TVA Parlemen reports. Commission 7 of the House urges the government to ensure the tourism sectors remain unaffected by the 12% VAT increase. This is important because tourism growth is still unstable as it recovers from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Member of Commission 7 of the House Riko Sia asked the government not to impose the 12% VAT on the tourism sector. He says the sector is still struggling to recover from losses caused by COVID-19. If the VAT increase is applied to these sectors, Riko believes industry players and MSMEs in tourism will suffer even more, and the sectors will experience another decline.
Sektor pariwisata karena baru saja dihantam dengan pandemi selama 3 tahun, mereka baru mulai recovery. Sangat-sangat tidak masuk akal apabila pajak tersebut dikenakan kepada mereka. Dan saya yakin pemerintah tidak akan mengenakan di kelas menengah ke bawah, mereka akan menengah ke atas.
Furthermore, member of Commission 7 of the House, Muhammad Hatta, considers the government decisions to raise the 12% VAT is in bad timing. He points out domestic industries are still struggling and over 60,000 workers have lost their job this year. Therefore, he urges the government to find alternative revenue sources that do not burden industries and the public.
Sudah industrinya lagi terseok-seok, tambah lagi beban pajak 2% tambahan atau 1% tambahan. Saya kira ini yang harus dicermati oleh pemerintah. Menaikkan pendapatan pemerintah itu tidak harus dengan menaikkan PPN. Masih banyak celah-celah fiskal lainnya yang harus ditingkatkan.
From Nusa Dua Bali, Teresia Butar-Butar, TVA Parlemen reports. We still have more interesting information, this time coming from the economic support for middle class group. Stay tuned to House News. Commission 1 appreciated Kodam Iskandar Muda's efforts in addressing security challenges in Aceh province. The Commission recognized the importance of these efforts in maintaining peace and stability in the region. Vice Chairperson of Commission 1 of the House, Ahmad Heriawan, acknowledged the territorial development program of Kodam Iskandar Muda as an important initiative for local communities. He encouraged the program to be able to accelerate development progress in Aceh Province.
Provinsi melakukan kerjasama yang intensif dengan TNI selaku pembina teritori, pembina ketentraman masyarakat dalam hal teritori. Tentu ini masuk dalam kategori operasi militer selain perang ya. Jadi karena perang tidak ada kan, oleh karena itu operasi militer kan dalam bentuk perang tidak ada. Tentu yang ada berjaga-jaga, jangan sampai ada serangan yang melumpuhkan kedaulatan negeri ini. Tapi pada saat di mana kita tidak ada operasi peperangan, TNI bisa beroperasi dengan operasi yang lain. Itulah operasi militer selain perang. Tentu saja karena ini akan berdampak luas bagi kebaikan masyarakat di Provinsi Aceh, maka perlu dikerjasamakan supaya anggarannya besar, anggarannya ada, sehingga dampaknya sangat kuat dan pada saat yang sama akan semakin mempercepat kesejahteraan yang dibangun oleh Provinsi Aceh.
Furthermore, Commission 1 of the House will support efforts to have Kodam Iskandar Muda's territorial development program achieve its goal and continue. They believe this program plays a role in strengthening unity and promoting the welfare of local communities. From Aceh, Zahran and Fahmi, TVA Parlemen report. Commission 11 of the House urges the government to provide economic support for the middle class to strengthen their weakening purchasing power. This decline is evident in the reduced spending patterns of the middle class and the drop in sales of vehicles and properties. Vice Chairperson of Commission 11 of the House, Dolphy, stated, household consumption growth is mainly from the upper middle class, while the lower middle class needs more support from the government. Therefore, Dolfi encouraged the government to provide economic assistance to help the lower middle class from becoming more vulnerable and potentially falling into poverty.
Tapi segmen yang meningkat ini nampaknya adalah kelas menengah atas. Nah, ini yang kita memberi perhatian bagaimana dengan kelas menengah ke bawah ini. Nah, inilah yang kita minta pemerintah supaya memperhatikan stimulus ekonomi sehingga menyentuh kelas menengah yang rentan. Kalau kelas masyarakat bawah kan sudah banyak program bansos dan sebagainya. Justru kelas menengah ini yang rentan, yang daya belinya menurun.
Additionally, member of Commission 11 of the House, Anies Biarwati, emphasized the government should not only focus on economic figures, but also look at the actual economic challenges in the society. She hoped the government will improve equitable distributions of welfare alongside the growth of the national economy.
Kita juga menyaksikan bahwa banyak sekali masyarakat kita yang belum membaik kondisinya, begitu ya. Jadi bahwa pertumbuhan ekonomi itu juga harus menunjukkan kualitas, karena angka pertumbuhan ekonomi yang tinggi, misalnya Presiden Prabowo itu menginginkan angka pertumbuhan ekonomi 8%, itu kita apresiasi, tapi tentu kita minta untuk bagaimana bisa mencapai, karena selama 10 tahun pemerintahan Jokowi itu stuck di angka 5%.
Ajib N. Gunarso, TVA Parlemen Report. The West Kalimantan Regional Government has made preparations for the upcoming holiday seasons. Significant improvements have been seen at ports, including better container services and transportation routes. Despite the good preparations for the Christmas and New Year holidays, member of Commission 5 of the House, Musa Rajaksa, highlighted some road sections are still flooded during heavy rainfall. Therefore, he encouraged the government to improve road infrastructure facilities to provide the best service and comfort to the public.
Kita harapkan seluruhnya kita dalam tahun ke tahun pasti menghadapi hal yang serupa. Nataru ini menjadikan penyempurnaan dari tahun-tahun sebelumnya.
In addition to infrastructure issues, member of Commission 5 of the House, Sharif Abdullah Al-Qadri, appreciated the government's efforts in successfully reducing airfare prices ahead of the holidays. However, he hopes the government can consistently keep airfare prices affordable for all levels of society.
Pemerintah harus mengkaji ini, jangan sampai cuma hanya sesaat saja. Setelah itu kembali naik lagi. Ya, ini kan apa faktornya? Karena ada beberapa juga dari maskapai penerbangan menyampaikan kepada saya bahwa teks tiket pajaknya itu cukup tinggi, sehingga itu juga mempengaruhi.
From Pontianak, West Kalimantan, Teguh Novianto, TVA Parlemen Reports. Make sure to stay with us because after the break we have more interesting stories only on House News. Vocalist and guitarist of Voice of Baceprot recently made it onto BBC's 100 Women Inspiring and Influential 2024 list. Being the only Indonesian woman in the list, she was recognized for her courage in challenging gender and religious norms through music. Firda Marsha Kurnia of Voice of Baceprot, also known as VOB for short, is the one of the BBC 100 Inspiring and Influential Women in 2024. She stands among well-known politicians, activists, and even more. It is a fact that she is the only woman that comes from Indonesia on the list. BBC on its publication describes Marsha as a groundbreaking. She resists religion and gender norms which choke women activities in her country. It can be tracked on VOB song lyrics that she is also aware of politics, environmental degradations, and corruptions. Singing in English and Sundanese, one of the most widely spoken languages in Indonesia, the lyrics of the trio song express their frustrations with patriarchy. Being a metal band whose members are all wearing hijab, they get a lot of rejections from conservative Muslim groups. As reported from Kompas, Marsha had been dropped out from her senior high school after saying in a TV interview that the school didn't support the music. The school felt disrespected and decided to expel them. VOB, the first Indonesian and hijab-wearing band to perform at Glastonbury, and the first Indonesian band open at Woodsy Stage, share on their official Instagram that they will remain true to themselves despite how they are labeled. In response to the decreasing recognitions of Indonesian culture, a new innovation has emerged: Indonesia's first animated wayang. This animation combines traditional Indonesian art with modern storytelling techniques. Aniwayang stands out from typical animations. While most animations feature a variety of colors, Aniwayang uses only brown and yellow. Daud Nugraha, the creator, was inspired by wayang kulit, a deeply rooted cultural traditions in Indonesia when creating Aniwayang. His goal is to introduce wayang as a form of storytelling through animations, much like how Japan is known for anime. Daud hopes Aniwayang can become an iconic Indonesian animation style, saying Japan has anime, Indonesia has Aniwayang. Aniwayang aims to introduce Indonesian culture to younger audiences. It uses side-profile character designs and batik patterns, and also features traditional gamelan music, adding to the cultural experience. It's simple. One-color backgrounds make it look like a traditional wayang show, bringing the past and present together. The animation tells the adventures of three children, Chila, Chili, and Chilo, across several episodes. As of now, the story has reached its 13th episode, with previews available on the Desa Timun YouTube channel. Since its launch, Aniwayang has received appreciations and awards from various national and international bodies. One notable recognition was winning Best Short Animations at the 2022 Indonesian Film Festival. This project from Desa Timun, or Cucumber Village, hopes to introduce wayang culture to children and the wider community, ensuring that Indonesian traditions are preserved in a fun and accessible way. Nearly 6 months after the first teaser drop earlier in 2024, the latest news comes as Disney reveals the full trailer for Snow White: The Live Actions. The film was set to open in March 2025. Disney released the official Snow White teaser trailer for the upcoming live-action remake. It will be released in theaters on March 21, 2025. Disney's live-action Snow White remake cast hasn't been fully announced, but Rachel Zegler will star as Snow White. While Zegler is still a rising name, adding some bigger star power to the Snow White cast is Gal Gadot, who is set to play the Evil Queen. Playing a villain inspired by an animated character and being a villain has allowed Gadot to play around with her acting styles more than usual. Gadot has even explained in interviews that she's changed her voice for the role. The film comes almost 90 years after Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which premiered in 1937, and become a cornerstone of the Disney Empire. Multiple takes on the Brothers Grimm tale have made it to the screen, from Lily Collins' Mirror Mirror to Snow White and the Huntsman starring Kristen Stewart. The movie has been directed by Mark Webb, best known for The Amazing Spider-Man and its sequel, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Webb has also directed the memorable romantic comedy 500 Days of Summer. The original Snow White animated film follows a young princess who's just dreaming of a better life and falling in love. But when the evil queen's magic mirror informs her that Snow White is the most beautiful girl in the land, the queen grows envious, putting Snow White under a sleeping curse only to be awoke by true love's kiss. And that information wraps up our house news for today. I'm Reni Menariu and all the crew. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time.